In this video, we're gonna give an introduction to dads and dads-to-be to childbirth classes. What can I expect? How do we find the right one? Will snacks be provided? How much are they? Are they optional? Will I love it or hate it? What are the biggest myths? Will I need to discuss my feelings? All these questions answered and more coming up. This video is for dads, biological or otherwise, who want to take an active and educated role in the birth and the life of their baby. Click the like button below and subscribe to the channel for more labor and delivery advice for dads. Be sure you hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our future content. First things first, what are childbirth classes? Well, they're classes to learn more about what to expect from childbirth, and they're usually taught by certified childbirth educators, like this one.
People come with their partners, and so there's education offered for both parties that are involved. Rebecca Wynn, childbirth educator and co-owner, Chicago Family Picnic.
They're usually held about once a week, where a handful of pregnant women and their partners meet up at places like churches, hospitals, birth centers, physicians' offices, and places like this, dedicated birth education centers.
Sometimes partners come in being like, here I go, my wife told me to come, I'm gonna come. After the first night, they let their guard down in this space where we make it a safe place for people to kind of talk about what they're worried about, so that when it gets scary, they can keep the calm in the room, so that mom can look at him or her and be like, okay, they've got it together, this must be okay.
If you're having a hospital birth, they may want you to take the hospital courses, but that's totally up to you guys. I think a good size to shoot for is about 5 to 10 couples max. Some places offer private classes for just the two of you plus an instructor. And later in the video, I'll give you costs for each. I want you to meet David. He's a dad.
My name is David, and I'm a dad. We actually had a woman come to our home who was a professional doula, and she taught us the class. Why we had someone come to our house, I think how she could get me to do it, that's the honest truth.
Classes last about an hour, and they're usually on nights and weekends. Others offer like a one-day intensive class.
It couldn't have been more than 4 or 5 hours.
Classes usually start about 7 months into pregnancy and last for about a month. They are optional, but I strongly urge all parents to take them. It's one of the most interesting courses you'll ever take.
I needed to be the one to help time contractions, to help do the things to make my wife as comfortable as possible during the process.
Coming up, I'll show you what you can expect from these classes, and I'll also show you the 5 biggest myths surrounding them.
You have a cellular phone? Are you a dad? Maybe you have a baby on the way. If so, text UPDATE to 302-526-0932 to stay updated every time we post a new video. Message and data rates apply. Make the right choice and send us a text.
What goes on in these classes? Well, the point of it is to show what you're likely gonna experience.
Just a good overview of what birth was going to be like, where I would fit in terms of being a helper.
And what issues you might encounter. You'll learn about nutrition and exercise and postpartum care and breastfeeding. Plus, they'll teach you how to help her before, during, and after labor.
There were some exercises that relieved pain and tension during childbirth. I was ready.
And overall, it just ensures you don't go into labor blind. And just a little tutoring can go a long way in boosting your confidence. Stick with me here, and I'm gonna show you the 5 biggest myths surrounding childbirth classes. Hey, good morning or good afternoon.
Hello, my dear. Good afternoon. Yeah, and good morning to you.
Can you hear me okay?
So my name's Anya, and I'm a holistic pregnancy coach, and I've got a YouTube channel called Hypnobirthing with Anya.
And there's a link in the description down below. But first, here are the prices and cost of childbirth classes. The average nationwide price is about $110. Private classes are about $350. So here's the 5 biggest myths surrounding childbirth education classes. Myth number 1, people are just too busy.
I'm just too busy. I barely have enough time as it is.
So we never have time enough to do anything that we really need to do, but I think making the time is really important.
Well, ideally, childbirth education classes should be spaced apart in the calendar because that helps retention. But they come in all shapes and sizes with different time commitments. Find one that fits with your schedule. And myth number 2, it's mainly for women.
It's mainly stuff my wife needs to know.
Guys, half of these classes are designed for you as well. They're gonna show you some seriously important tips that are designed to make the whole experience better for you both.
I think if I wasn't as involved in the process, I'm not sure I would have as much appreciation for what an incredible piece of machinery the female body is.
You only get to experience each birth once, so be there for your partner and be there for the class. Myth number 3, the teacher is going to pressure you guys into having a particular type of birth.
The teacher will have an agenda.
So there's a ton of different philosophies when it comes to labor and delivery.
I like to have a diverse class because then people that are with a midwife or a home birth can hear what is happening in the hospital and vice versa. It gives people a chance to get kind of a better vision of what childbirth can be.
They're not there to convince you guys to have a particular type of birth.
Good childbirth education covers everything from an unmedicated vaginal birth all the way to a cesarean birth, and there shouldn't be judgments in between.
Myth number 4, it is way too expensive.
It's too expensive.
Yeah, classes are expensive. I think you get what you pay for. So I know lots of hospitals offer free classes, but I do find that hospital classes are not as comprehensive.
But a lot of these places offer some kind of payment plan.
If you don't have the money, there are businesses and places that offer classes at a lower cost for people that really need them.
Some health insurance companies actually cover it, but either way, it's money well spent. These classes show effective methods of managing and relieving pain, which is way less expensive than an epidural shot. Myth number 5, the doctors, nurses, midwives, they already know all this stuff, so why do I need to know it too?
The doctor knows this stuff. I don't have to.
They know some of it. They often come in, check you for cervical dilation, and then leave and be like, we'll be back.
Doctors and nurses are often stretched way too thin, so it's important that you also know this information as well.
People that don't take a class, their birth experience suffers from it. You know, the doctor came in and said, well, we're thinking about a cesarean. And they said, well, if everything's okay, can you give us, he's like, I'll give you an hour. But because they spoke up, they did some positions and their baby turned and started moving down, and the OB came in and was like, okay, turned it back over to the midwives, and she was able to have her baby vaginally, but only because they spoke up and didn't just move on with what the doctor was saying. You can't make those choices if you don't know what they are. A class is the way to learn them.
If she relies on an epidural for pain management, it's important to know that it doesn't always work. This is true, and it is severely underreported.
When we just got hired by a mom who's a second time, and she had 2 epidurals fail. She didn't have any pain management, and she had taken the hospital class, and so her husband didn't really know how to help her. It probably numbed her in places. And I've seen lots of times women get an epidural where there's just like a window. They feel all the pain right here.
Epidurals have a failure rate of 9 to 12%. So it's important that she has a backup plan. Plus, it's nice to be with other couples who are experiencing, there's a B. Plus, it's nice to be with other couples that are experiencing the same thing as you. How to find the right class. I don't know if you know this, but all birth classes are exactly the same, right? Wrong. Some classes are just like a real brief explanation about what you'll experience at that particular hospital. Others are developed with decades of experience to provide profound, proven lessons and what helps mom and dad the most. It's important that your classes are taught by certified childbirth education instructors, but childbirth education instructor certification varies wildly, so I'm gonna attempt to describe the most popular certifications out there in 10 words or less. Lamaze technique builds a mother's confidence and how to cope with pain. The Bradley method, husband-partner coached childbirth and relaxation techniques for easier childbirth. Birthing from within, coping techniques focusing on solutions, alternative pain relief for a transformative experience. Hypnobirthing, achieving birth fulfillment in a relaxed, alert state of mind. So this video is not sponsored by Hypnobirthing, but it is one of the more intriguing methods out there.
Hypnobirthing really gets you involved in childbirth as a couple, so it doesn't neglect the most important piece of the puzzle, which is emotional and mental preparations. Dads just feel like they don't know what they can do, so hypnobirthing teaches them how to get fully involved emotionally, physically, and practically, and hypnobirthing does that.
I know a lot of these sound like they're saying the same thing, but there are subtle and not so subtle differences between them. There's links down below to learn about each. So there's no right childbirth class because they're all fantastic. Pick the one that focuses on what's most important to you two. But here's the greatest part of it all. Snacks are usually provided. So there you have it. Click the like button below and subscribe to the channel for more labor and delivery advice for dads. If you want to get a text every time we post a new video, then text UPDATE to 302-526-0932.